Welcome to Retro Boys. This time we are playing Phantasy Star Online version 2. It was released on the Dreamcast September 24th, 2001. The area we are in right now is the main hub of Pioneer 2. Through this door we have the shops, which are weapons, healing items, and magic, and then armor. To the left here we have our bank. To the right here we have the healing center, which we will walk into. You can heal yourself whenever you need it. You can pop up back from missions using a telepipe, and then lastly in front of us is the Hunter's Guild where you start at, and then this area which it leads down to the different areas. This is the Forest Area 1. In the game there is a lot of switches and puzzle solvings you have to do with finding switches. This is the first enemy you will run into down here most likely, which is the Rappy. There are multiple different types of each monster. This is the Booma. You will see another version of this throughout this area. And within Area 2, you have Giga Booma, Booma, and there's one other one which I will show you once we get to it. Now, the funny thing is with the combat, it's all timing based. As you see, every time I go to attack, one of the two red items flash. What that means is I'm hitting the button on my controller and I have a short timing to attack the next one. And as you see there, I tried to attack the Rappy as it ran away. If you do that, you get an extra item. And if you get the timing right on your attacks, you can do 3 attacks in a row. You can mix them between heavy and light. The main ones you see me do are light. The last one there, which you saw this light come in, was the heavy attack. Now we're at the end of Forest 2, and what we're doing is making our way to the boss. Now we have some more Go Boomas, and after we take these out, look in the distance what spawns. This is one of the other enemies. We have also a wolf that you have not seen yet. Those are pretty common. They also give themselves a little boost of defense and attack, which in this game is called Shifta and Deband. The Hildebear is one of the harder enemies in this area when you first start out. Now, you see me going through these menus pretty quickly. If you hold down right trigger, you see when I bring up a separate palette. These palettes are completely customizable. You can put your controls whatever you like. The only thing is Y is either chat, or if you hit right trigger, that will end up being your quick menu. Now, what those quick menu switches do is help you switch between your weapons, your spells. Being able to change weapons on a fly like that is really, really essential. You'll see me doing that a little bit more in the caves. But let's talk about this boss fight. Each boss in this game is different. And on the Xbox version of the game, I know at least, when you get into Ultimate mode, this changes. The monster is different. It's been so long since I did it on the Dreamcast version, I don't know if it actually does in version 2. And as you see, I just hit Y because I thought I held down right trigger, and I didn't. But the thing you do with this monster, or with the boss, is shoot the head like you see me doing. You want it knocked down, so if you want it to chance it, you can go up next to it and melee attack it, or just stand closer and shoot it. I prefer to stay away and use my handguns whenever I am fighting certain bosses. This is one of them. This boss I tend to only use my handgun on. And after you do enough damage, or after enough time passes, it'll take into the air. This is phase 2 of the boss. It'll dive underground, and then what you have to do is stand next to the fire. This is one of the tricks with this game. Otherwise, if you're playing online, if you're able to still by using other means necessary, you cannot get hit by the boss because some reason with the game, as you see, if I'm on where it entered the ground with, I will not get hurt by that dash attack underground. And now that it's back out, you just start shooting it again. You can shoot any part you want. The head does the most damage. A little fun fact, this dragon also made an appearance in Phantasy Star Universe, and it had the same exact methods. There's actually, the dragon was a little bit different from this one, but it was to resemble this first boss, because that was one of the first bosses in the game. After each boss fight, though, you get boxes around the level scattered around with items in it. And then after you open the boxes, I don't really need to do it, I am just doing it to show you, you will find a teleport, and that'll teleport you back up to Pioneer 2. And one thing to note when finding items, if it's armor or weapons, or certain other items, you'll have stars on them. What those stars mean are rarities. If the star is higher, that means you have the more rare items. If the star isn't, that means you have a common item. Most of my weapons are common. I think almost all of them are. To get rare weapons, you will need to play online. When you get to this room in the first cave area, you get to know you're almost done. One of the new enemies you'll be facing in the caves are the evil sharks. There are 3 variants of those, and then you have the grass assassins. One thing to note about these guys is when they spit on you like that, you are paralyzed in place. You're not paralyzed where you can't attack, because that is something different that those stupid lilies do right over there. And then you have the nano dragon, which is more annoying for melee characters because they get up and fly. The poison lilies will poison you, or if you hit them once and stand next to them, they will paralyze you. Also be warned with those, shoot the head, because if you hit them enough times and not kill them, they will self-destruct and you get no XP. The evil sharks are the boomas of this area. Each area will have one type of monster that is like the booma. I think they share the same skeleton for the animations. That way it saves them on memory, as well as animations for the most part. After you get through this door, you will be very close to the end. Now we are in Cave 2, and one thing I am wanting to show you is the difference between what you saw in Cave 1. You didn't get to see the darker areas in Cave 1, which resemble this, but it's a more red and brown tone. Now it's a little bit more of a blue tone. And what you're going to see me do here is customize my action layout, or my palette. I'm going to put my ice skills on, because this is something very important to do whenever you're first getting here. When fighting these slimes, you want to use your ice abilities on them. Because what it will do is it'll split them, and you'll get more XP. With these creatures also, you can only hit them one time before they duck and move again. And I believe 4 times is the maximum, and after you hit them the 4 times, you just have to kill them. Instead of getting 1 attack, or 1 creature worth of XP, you're going to get 4. Why they split like this, I don't know. When I was first playing this game, I always called these things Chaos, because they look very similar to Chaos from Sonic Adventure. And it's not that hard to kill them, it's just very annoying since you can only hit them once, they'll duck back down, and they will run away. Now, as you see, here's the poison lily. And whenever you see their head pop up like that before I kill them, that is when you have to worry about them self-destructing or poisoning you. Or not poisoning, paralyzing you. So just keep that in mind. And since I already showed you about what to do with this slime, I didn't do it again, because I was trying to save time and get through it. These monsters, I believe, give me roughly 10 to 15... 10 XP per hit. And the first area that you were at was pretty indoors looking, and now we're into the second area of Caves 2. When you get to this room, just like before in Caves 1, that one area I showed you, you were getting very close to being done. So when you clear this room, just keep an eye out and make sure you're not looping back around, because there are areas in the caves where they will loop you. Now in the Caves 2 area, you are coming into a new enemy to face down here besides those slimes and the lilies. The lilies you got to fight in Cave 1. Here are some more evil sharks. But there's going to be one new thing now. And it's this ugly thing. This thing is actually two monsters combined into one. And you cannot hit it. And as you see, I'm hitting it and it does no damage. They are called pan arms. And one thing you have to wait for is for them to split apart. And while they're doing that, I want to point out that each weapon has its own stats for different monsters. Forest will have a certain type of monsters. In here you have a certain type of monsters, as well as mines and ruins. The A beast are usually with the caves, and I believe the beast, or nature I believe it is for the forest. But as you get up here, these are rooms that you need to be aware of. These are where you get turned around. These rooms are evil. So keep that in mind. Also, watch here as I level up. And when I do, notice my life and my TP. They both refill back to maximum. And yes, I just tried using Foley, which is your basic fire skill. And as you level up, as I said, everything gets maximum. That's one cool thing about this. Now we are heading to the hardest part of this level. This area here is the thing that will cause you nightmares when you first start playing this game. I remember when I originally played this game and got to this boss, I was like level 13, and it took me longer than 20 minutes. Not gonna lie. But this is by far one of my favorite bosses too, because it's so different from the rest. What you are on is on a moving platform. You're fighting a giant worm thing. It spits out those spiky bomb things. If you don't attack them in time, they blow up. And then whenever it gets to a side, it'll shoot purple plasma at you, and you have to dodge that, not get hit. Other thing to notice, I cannot melee hit this boss until what happens right now. And that is, it jumps up here. But be warned, if you're meleeing this thing, watch what happens to me. It is not the funnest thing. You get hit by the little tentacles that it has, and it hits you for about 50 HP from my melee character, which has pretty decent stats all around. And I will put everything about the character stats within the description, as well as the basic story. Now, it hits, like I said, about 50 per time, and what you have to do is actually break the armor off of this. And it's not the easiest thing. Now, you will see as I fight it, it'll change its patterns a little bit. Usually when it goes to the left side, it'll shoot those purple plasma things out, as you see here. And also, you just saw I broke part of the armor off. Now, why that is important is because that's how you do your damage. It is good to always have a gun on you when you come to this area, otherwise it'll take you forever. And a new version of these spike bombs is, after you do so much damage to it, it'll spit them out, and it will surround you. And when it surrounds you, it hits you for a decent amount of damage. Other thing to note, as you see, the worm creature is jumping around constantly. That is how it changes up its tactics. You saw last time it jumped up on the left side, now, or on the right side. Now it's jumping up on the left side. And it has this giant skull mask on it. You'll also see the mask eventually break the next time I believe it jumps up. And what you have to do while it's on here when you're a melee class is decide, do you want to waste more time doing heavier hits that right now, as you see, it's doing roughly 44 to 45 more, I think at most 48 more than my normal melee quick hits, which is doing roughly about 50 total. Now, here is the nasty thing. One of the nasty things about this boss. It's running up on the ceiling. It is dropping rocks down. At low levels, this will almost instantly kill you And if you're not playing a class with high defense, it'll be really bad. And then, yes, it does turn out the lights on you, so whenever it spits up these spike bombs, or, you know, gets, like, really far ahead and then disappears for a minute, you don't know exactly where it is unless you're looking at the radar. Now, the worst thing about this boss is this part. It has a giant laser beam out of its mouth. And as you just see, I just broke the faceplate. This laser beam hurts for about 60 damage on me right now at level 20. That's a lot, and that is why I keep switching over using monomates every time I get hit by it. And I also just used a mono fluid. Anything with the word mate in it heals HP. Anything with the word fluid in it will heal your TP. And here are those spikes again. It's best to take them out usually with one combo, depending on your weapon. And since I am using a weapon that targets multiple people, it will do less damage. If I had used my brand, it would have did more damage on the first combo. And again, here's the mouth laser. That, if you can, and you're not playing this by yourself, because you're playing it online, on private servers, you could have the ranger do most of the damage while everybody else stands near the force and they will heal. Normally with boss fights in groups, you want to use shift and D-band first before you start attacking. What that'll do, it'll raise your attack and your defense up. And right here is something that you need to be careful for. As you see in the upper left hand corner, you saw all those numbers drain. That is from my mag. This is a mag power here. And what that does, certain mags, depending on how you build it, will do certain damage differently. Now, since I'm a melee one, my mag did a circle around me and dealt damage. There's also shift into band that'll give you, and then there's another one it does, which mine's not leveled up enough, and I don't remember exactly what it does. But you just keep going through the same stuff, just waiting for the boss to wear down. The only reason why I'm showing this boss in its entirety is when I first started playing, this is what drove me crazy. And when you're playing the original version of this game, you die, you lose all your money you have on you, and whatever weapon you have equipped. And you have to go back through the level and get to this area just to pick it back up. So keep that in mind. If you have scape dowels, which will revive you and heal you fully, you should have one on you, especially if this is your first time playing this boss. What I highly suggest, you play this area until you get to this boss, use the telepipe, go back, go through the forest, fight the dragon, and repeat until you get above 15. It'll still be hard, but it'll be a little bit easier. This game does involve you grinding. I am having to grind because I can't make it through the mines yet. That is why I'm not showing you the mines, because I don't have my memory card with my character that I thought I had on it. I don't know where he is. But with that, you know, with what's going on, you just keep repeating this. Every time the monster jumps up on here, his name is called D-Roll-Lee. I should have said that a long time ago. But because of how, I'm going to say, popular this boss is, this is another one of those bosses that made it into Phantasy Star Universe. It took a little bit, but it finally made it in there, and they kept the boss identical. The patterns are really the same. You're on the same platform. The only difference is, you see these circles on the platform? That moves the platform left, right, up, down, and at a diagonal in the four corners. I'm sorry, you don't move up and down. You move left and right, and then you have the diagonals. That's how you can do melee damage to this boss. It is actually a nice little addition they did because they made it a little easier. But this is one of my favorite bosses, and you should keep an eye out on my YouTube channel for notifications for when I go to live stream this, because one of these days I'm going to live stream this game and beat the mines and then go through the ruins. I just have to get myself to do it That's the one problem, because there's a lot of grinding I'm going to have to do within the mines. And the mines are pretty nasty when you're at low levels, just like the caves are. The boss is a little easier. It's not as bad as this boss, because it sits still, but you have to destroy parts of it. So, keep an eye out for that. And we're actually getting to the end here, so keep an eye on when I shoot the boss, because it'll cut to a cutscene, and you'll notice one of the animations the boss does. It'll like fall back a little bit, and you won't be able to target it. Right there. So don't forget to like, favorite, share, and comment. Let me know if you ever played Phantasy Star Online, and what you liked about it.